Hello and welcome to an episode of RC Engine Dyno. Today I will be testing the REDS 721 Scuderia Super Veloce SV Gen 2. I will be putting this on my Hudy braking bench and then putting it on my OnStat racing dyno. But first, let's see what's in the box. So in the box you get the engine, which already has a glow plug in it. You get a collar. Get the exhaust gasket, get some manuals, and you also get a quality control certificate from Mario Rossi himself. So let's open up the engine and let's have a look inside. So looking at the engine more closely, it has a low CG head. The button has a couple of shims and the glow plug already in it. It also has some markings for the exhaust. The sleeve itself seems to be fairly good machining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 +1 ports. If I look at the piston itself, very nice and shiny. Don't see any issues there. And then the crankcase looks quite clean and nice, no burrs to speak of. Looks to be very good quality. Having a look at the back plate, so this is meant to be a DLC air boost back plate. So with these holes here, it is meant to boost the flow of fuel. And the crankshaft, nice couple of weights there, probably tungsten, and a little ramp going up. It's actually quite a vertical ramp. Normally they're about 45 degrees. This one seems to be more like 60, 70 maybe. So a very vertical ramp in the REDS engine. Carburetor itself comes with a 7mm Venturi, and it is a short needle type, so it completely disengages at full throttle. Okay, so the engine looks fine. There don't seem to be any burrs or anything to speak of, so I'll reassemble it and put it on my braking bench and then do the dyno test. I'm here at Arc Raceway to do my bench braking and my dyno testing. testing done for the REDS engine. really easy to tune, had a very wide range of needle settings that would actually work. Between half a turn on a high-speed needle on either end would make the engine operate at roughly the same HP and RPM, which is really good for an engine like this to be so easy to tune. How did it perform? Well, let's have a look at the stats. In the red shades of graph here we have the REDS engine Gen 2, and in the blue graphs we have the LRP ZR32X 4.1. If you look at the max horsepower generated by these engines, you will see that the REDS achieved a maximum of 1.707 horsepower, whereas the LRP achieved a maximum of 2.156 horsepower. So in overall horsepower terms, the REDS was not as powerful as the LRP. However, there are two things that are quite important about the REDS engine versus the LRP. The first is the peak RPM that was achieved by the REDS engine was 46,400 RPM, whereas the maximum that was achieved for the LRP was 44,400 RPM. So as a peak RPM limit, the REDS engine was a little bit higher than the LRP engine. What is also important is if you look at the HP profile and the torque profile, you will see that the REDS engine is more consistent throughout the RPM range and sustaining that at top RPM versus the LRP. So looking at the HP graph, which is now in a bolder font, fairly consistent even though it hits peak RPM at an earlier stage. The LRP, however, although it peaks at a higher HP, it does drop down as the RPM goes on for the 6 seconds of the dyno run. And in fact, when you get to this position here, which is around 4.5 seconds, the HP actually drops below the REDS engine. So as a peak HP, the LRP is higher, but as a HP over the profile of the RPMs and over time, the REDS engine seems to be more consistent. So maybe that is more helpful when it comes to racing with the REDS engines. They are designed for racing as 21 engines, 3.5 cc's, where the LRP is probably more designed for bashing and running around as such. So a really great engine, really enjoyed doing this dyno test. Look forward to doing some more dyno testing for you guys and showing the results of those. Thanks again. Bye-bye.